Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies coming at you with more Legions Imperialis content. Like I promised you guys, I was going to do a couple more Legions in this series to help you guys out. And today is the Blood Angels. I don't think anyone can question that Blood Angels are awesome. And we all have Legions that we like and dislike. And there's usually reasons. There's always a bit of fun, a bit of banter back and forth. But I think we can all agree that Blood Angels are awesome and badass. Even though they're not my favorite Legion, that would be Imperial Fists. I cannot help but respect the Blood Angels, their Primarch, their heritage, all their successive chapters. They're just awesome. So let's give it to them. So today I'm going to show you guys how to quickly get a few Blood Angels sets on the tabletop very quickly. Namely, we are going to do a 10-man infantry squad, a Rhino, and then 5 assault models. Well, one base of assault marines basically to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to tweak that scheme just a little bit with the assault marines. I am going to give them the traditional yellow helmets, which is more 40k than 30k. But I think adding that little detail in will really help to break them up on the battlefield. You see a sea of tiny models on 5 models on little bases, and you see some with different colored helmets to help you break it up. I think that's a really good way to do it. So I'm going to use it for the Blood Angels that I do paint. So before we get into the video, 2 quick things. One, thank you guys so much for all your support. The patrons have been absolutely awesome the last couple of weeks. You've helped keep the lights on, the cameras rolling. You're amazing. If that's something you're interested in getting involved with, there are links to it below. You got access to a private Discord server and an extra video every single week just for you guys. That's 50 extra videos a year, which I think is pretty cool. And 2, I'm trying to hit the lofty goal of getting to 40,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And you guys so far have heard that call and the subscriptions have been flowing in. I definitely think we will make it by the end of the year, but we got to keep that flow going in order to make that happen. So if you're not already subscribed to this channel and you're currently watching this, please do hit that button. It takes nothing away from you, but adds everything to me. Thank you guys so much. You're awesome. Let's get painting some Blood Angels. Okay, just like my Sons of Horus scheme, I'm just going to pick out a few key units and get them painted up for you guys. So namely for the Blood Angel section, I've got a 10-man infantry squad, so just 9 bolters and a sergeant. I'm also going to do 5 assault marines. Obviously, they're such an iconic piece for Blood Angels that I thought it would be rude not to. And obviously, I'm going to do a vehicle for them as well. So for this, I'm going to go for a Rhino transport. So basically, fast-moving force. The 10 Marines go inside of this. The Jump Marines fly around by themselves. I was intending to do a Dreadnought as well, a Contemptor. If I'm being brutally honest, I forgot to build the damn thing. So unfortunately, that won't be in this video. I've had a heck of a week with a busted hand, so this video was quite painful to make. But we shall persevere. So the first thing I did was I grabbed some Blood Angels red contrast, and I started applying that to all the armor panels of these miniatures. Now, the models were sprayed black and then sprayed grey sear to give me the kind of base coat that I want to work with. Now, there are 2 different ways of painting Blood Angels, and it just comes down to the kind of 2 different time periods. So my Legions Imperialis, where I'm basing my miniatures for, and my setting is during the siege. That's what I want to do. So all of my guys are going to be a little bit darker, a little bit more bashed, a little bit more worn. I want these guys to be midst of the siege, day 600 of the siege or some madness like that. Yeah, these guys have been fighting non-stop every single day since the beginning. And I want that to show on the model. So I don't want these gleaming red angels. If that is something you want to do, you want to brighten these guys up. Instead of going for the grey sear base coat, all you do is spray black and then spray pure white over the top of that. And then that will punch the red up a little bit more and make it a little bit brighter and a little bit more like early campaign / Great Crusade era Blood Angels. So like I said, I'm very carefully applying the Blood Angel red contrast to the miniatures, avoiding weapons. Only a little bit though. We're going to be hitting weapons with a black contrast, so it'll go over the red, no problem. Where I'm being particularly careful is with the assault marines. I'm doing my very best not to hit any of the helmets, and I was very good. I didn't hit any of the helmets, I don't think. And this is for the different colored helmets. Now, I know people watching this video are going to pause it right here and be like, this silly sausage has decided to put colored helmets on his Blood Angels for the Heresy, even though that wasn't the case. And you are right, during the Heresy, or at least this iteration of the Heresy, they did not have the colored helmets to differentiate squads. That comes later on, more kind of 40k than 30k. However, there is evidence that it did used to exist, whether it be the previous lore that they've since retconned. I'm not 100% sure. I'm also okay with it not being lore. I just really like the idea of the different colored helmets. Like epic models are obviously quite small, and seeing different hordes of them being pushed across the table can be a little bit daunting. You have to kind of stop and kind of remember who's who or why So I think having the different color helmets, differentiating squads is going to help Blood Angels play out quite a lot. You look down, you see yellow helmets, you know, these are my Assault Marines, you see blue helmets, so you know the heavy guys are over there, and so on and so forth. It's also going to add an extra, you know, little speck of color to the models, which I think works out great. Same thing with the Rhino transport. We are going to go in with our Blood Angels red contrast and apply that to pretty much the whole thing. We will be adding some black contrast on top of that to the bits that we want to do with metallics in a moment. But it doesn't really matter what you accidentally hit with that. We'll just be careful with the black afterwards, because the black will, like I said, cover right over the red. Now, I did my traditional thing when painting Legion Imperialis miniatures, which seems to be a recurring theme, which is I can't keep the model in the frame. I have to keep the camera so zoomed in because the middle models are so small, which means that if I tilt the model kind of an inch up or down or left or right, it goes out of the frame of the video. It's sometimes just get in the zone of painting. You don't keep looking at your second screen to check where your camera is, and it's the whole thing. So I apologize for missing a little bit of the framing on these models, but still a lot of fun to do. I know Blood Angels are quite a popular thing, and I expect to see quite a lot of them on the tabletop when the game is rolled out and people get their hands on them, which I know is actually right around the corner now. People now have models in their hands, so we should start to see the community as a whole really get stuck into these miniatures. And that's something I'm super looking forward to. Like, obviously you guys have seen, I don't know, about 50 creators do stuff with these, and then the Warhammer community team, which is just a tiny speck in the bucket of the awesome hobby that we have. So now it's in the hands of everybody. I literally cannot wait to see what people do. Okay, now that the red is all on, we're going to jump over to Black Templar. Now, I use Black Templar for all the weapons across these miniatures, and it's twofold as to why I do this. So obviously, it covers very well and gives you a really nice base coat to put any metallics on top of, okay? But then secondly, and I think most importantly, is some people are having an issue with the kind of malformed models, if you will, which is the thing that's happening where the, obviously because these are one-piece press mold miniatures, the guns are basically molded into the chest. So there's like extra material filling in behind the bolters. Now, if I was to paint these bolters as solid silver, and then the armor is red, you have to then decide where the red ends and the silver starts, which is a bit of a nightmare, which I think will be much more noticeable than if you do what I do, which is paint the entire thing in black. Then that negative space between the gun and the armor is black, which your eye doesn't want to pick up anyway. It will just forget that it's there, and then we can add a little bit of silver onto the bulkhead later on. And then with a quick shade on top of it, it disappears entirely, and I haven't noticed the issue at all. Now, some people may still be having issue with it. I am sorry that that's happening to you guys and you aren't happy with it. But I didn't want these models to be multi-part, and I think in order for them to be, molded like that, I think they might have had to be in two parts, and I don't want to stick tiny bolt guns on tiny chests for hours. That would kill me. I also grabbed the Black Templar and blacked in all of the bits on the tank that I want to be metallic. So obviously the tracks and then the four spouts, exhausts on this tank are obviously going to be done in the black as well. I did look up 30k lore as well, some artwork for the Blood Angels to see if I wanted to add any different like black areas anywhere else, the inset panels or anything like that, and they all are pretty much just solid red as Blood Angels tend to be. So I decided to hold back my creative flair and just do what the artwork tells me to do for these guys. I'm already doing them a kind of a dark and grungy scheme, and obviously I want to kind of darken them up and knock them down still. So the black obviously goes on really well over the treads. If I was to do this with a silver paint, obviously this would take a lot more time and be kind of a pain in the backside. And like I've said before in a couple of these videos, if you look at kind of standard army lists that are starting to make an appearance, you'll see that you're kind of talking 20 plus pieces of equipment on the table, like I mean tanks and stuff. So I think having a quick scheme with those as well as your infantry is really key to getting these large collections of miniatures painted for the average painter. I know some people go to town and create these amazing kind of art pieces out of their armies, and like that's the bit that I'm really excited to see what people do. But I think the majority of us are going to do quite simple paint jobs and are just really excited to get them on the table and play some games. Obviously this is me throwing the yellow helmets onto these miniatures, and like I said, they're already popping off awesome. I really like them. Now, before we go any further and we explore some more of this, we're just going to take a quick break and have a word from the sponsor of today's video, which is Hobbies, an awesome independent stockist here in Ireland that can provide you guys with pretty much every hobby product you could possibly ask for. They have a stellar range of miniatures, board games, airfix, model paints, glues, tools, D&D stuff. They literally add to their range of stuff weekly. As you can see, their shelves are all jam-packed. They really know what they're doing, and they are for sure one of the premium stores for buying stuff here in Ireland. They also have a very cool system, which is if you spend €60 or more, you get free next day delivery in Ireland, which, let me tell you, is a very cool thing this time of year when you're stressing about presents and stuff like that. To also help with the obviously the season of giving, the gifts and all that jazz, they are running another special promotion called the 12 Days of Christmas, which is every single day for the first 12 days of December. They are adding awesome extra items to a special list online, and they're getting an extra 12% off. And these items are usually already nicely discounted, kind of 10-15%. So you're looking at, 25% off kind of certain things, which I think is really cool. New items get added every single day, so make sure you check their website every single day, linked below, to see what's been added to their awesome event. Okay, so back to the Rhino. Like I said, it is a Blood Angel Rhino. It's a little bit dark right now. I like it, but I am going to add just a slight dry brush with Rise of Rust just to get a little bit of orange on some of those sharp edges, which is something you will notice when you look at Blood Angels. They tend to be highlighted with a little bit of orange. It makes them pop a little bit more. Like I said, I'm not going to go crazy. I don't think I need to go crazy with these guys. Just a small touch. 2 minutes work. And we'll just add just a little bit more warmth back into the Rhino, which is what I was looking for. I am going to be weathering it. I'm going to be dry brushing it with silver in a minute. But just for now, I think this is going to add just a little touch of something nice that will really suit. Obviously, I've got the other 9 of these Rhinos out of the box set to paint up. So I hopefully will do a couple of more Legions for you guys. And then probably do the rest, probably 5 of them for my own Imperial Fists Legion, and get my own army up and running as well, which I'm excited to do, as I do want to get a couple games of Legion Imperialis in. I really feel like how the game runs and if I enjoy it. I grabbed a little bit of Lead Belcher now, and obviously I'm going to be driving this over the hull as well. This is playing into that idea that it's a siege army, very worn, torn, and I want the paint to basically be scuffed and scratched all the way along. Another video that I'm going to be doing for you guys on this quite soon will be painting up some of the scenery. I got sent quite a lot of the nice scenery kits from Games Workshop very kindly, and I want to show you guys how to get them on the table quite quickly as well as the beautiful tile system. I got sent 1 box of them, so I have 6 tiles to paint up. So if I get those 6 tiles done and then some scenery to populate those tiles, I think it'd be really cool for taking photos and stuff as well of the models. But then of course showing you guys how to get them on the table quite quickly. And then I should bully my friends into getting a couple more sets of those tiles so we can get a full board going and then play some awesome games. So whilst the Lead Belcher is still on my palette, I grabbed it and I applied it to the infantry models where needed. So for instance, with those bolt guns we talked about earlier, where we did them in the black to fill in that negative space behind them, when I come in with the silver, the only thing I'm doing is the chain bayonet and the clip. That's it. I'm leaving the rest of it as the kind of black metal, which seems to really work. I've done it on all my Imperial Fists so far, and I've done it on the Sons of Horus for the other video, and I think they all look great at the end. So obviously jumping across the Assault Marines, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the head of the axe for the Sergeant. But then when it comes to the infantry, it's just a clip on the bolt pistol, and then I'm going to run the brush up the teeth of the chain swords. Once again, just add that splash of silver into these models. Like I said, I think this is one of those really fun things about Legion Imperialis, because you can get through these quite quickly. And if you don't have a lot of time, let's say you can grab yourself 20 minutes, a half an hour of painting once or twice a week, you'll be able to get a squad done in kind of half an hour to an hour of painting. You'll get 10 models done, fully put on a shelf. Next week, you get another guy's done. You can slowly but surely really kind of get an army together. Whereas a standard 40k, if you had 20 minutes, half an hour, it will of course help. And I do recommend you jump on any painting time you do get, but obviously you're not going to see a huge jumps in progress. It's going to be slow and steady progress you're going to see to create an army with like Space Marines of normal 28mm size. But these guys, it's just a real sense of achievement. You get those happy endorphins in your brain for completing something quite a lot with the Legion Imperialis, and it's a really nice feeling. I now have, I don't know, like 30 or 40 bases of Legion Imperialis models painted. Like well over 250 models. I don't even know when I did 250 models, but I did. And I'm super proud of them so far. So, okay, so I've grabbed some Nuln Oil. This is the last touch that I do on the infantry. Just want to add a little bit of shade, a little bit of shadow, a little bit of contrast to those models. So it is Nuln Oil, the 18mm pot of Nuln Oil, which is the thinner one. And then it is watered down with water. So it's probably 2 drops of water, 1 drop of Nuln Oil. So it's quite thin. And all it is there to do is, like I said, to add a little bit of shading to the miniatures. It's the last step I do on the power armor. It makes it look great, I feel. I then grabbed the mid-tone I did for my basing. Obviously didn't show you guys the basing in this video. I've done whole videos on basing the miniatures, and I've shown it off in 2 of the videos how I do the base of these models. I'm not going to show it off in every video. I think it might be a waste of time. But this is my basing that I do for my normal Legion Imperialis. A sponge and a few paints gets you quite a long way. And then obviously you see the way these guys just pop right off these coffee stirrers that I have them super glued to, which I think is a great way to paint up these guys. Normally I would recommend painting them on the sprue, but because this sprue is dedicated to painting different legions for showing you guys painting stuff, some of them are going to be sprayed differently. So unfortunately I had to cut them out, and then I glued them to these coffee stirrers, which does help you get kind of access into the side of them a little bit easier. So then 5 dots of super glue on each base, and then position your models as you please so they fit and look awesome. So here's my first base of Assault Marines from Blood Angels. I think they look really cool. They really fit into the aesthetic. I think the Blood Angel aesthetic really stands out. The red armor works, even though it's kind of a little bit darker. It's that kind of worn-torn look that I was looking for. And if I had a whole Legion Imperialis army of Blood Angels painted like this, I think I'd be super happy. Here's the 10-man tactical squad or infantry squad for the Legion as well. With the sergeant in there, I gave him the yellow plumes to tie in with the Assault Marines a little bit. But other than that, it is just 9 dudes with bolt guns rocking it. And I think the bolt guns look pretty good with the silver bayonet and silver click black rifle. I think that really works. And then, of course, the finished Blood Angels Rhino, which will match in with the infantry squad as well. So these handles come from Games Workshop. Before anybody asks me in the comments, people always ask me, these little handles that they're on are disposable. You basically just drill a hole in the bottom of the tank, super glue it in, and then when you want to remove them, you just twist, and the end of the tip kind of breaks off, and then you have a finished tank. They literally are handle things designed by Games Workshop, so go to the website and check it out if you want to see them for yourself. Okay guys, and there we have it, a painted squad and a half on a vehicle of Blood Angels for Legions Imperialis. You may have noticed that the content this week was a little bit light. I actually did bust up my hand a little bit. I don't know whether it's coming across on camera, but this one is obviously quite swollen, quite bad. So yes, it has slowed down my painting a little bit. I don't think anything's broken, just badly sprained and inflamed. So unfortunately, I'm down basically 2 videos this week, and I apologize for any of you guys who are excited for the Flesh Eater Quartz videos, Major Sigmar. I promise they are coming this week. I'm as excited for Flesh Eater Quartz as any of you guys are. I have a huge army of them, and I cannot wait to paint the new units up. So please be patient with me. And then also, a lot of people have been asking me for another Legions Imperialis basing scheme, this one where we move away from the kind of cityscape stuff and move into more nature. So people have asked for a Mars basing scheme, and then maybe like a standard kind of brown with grass kind of thing. And I promise you I will give you one of those videos as well next week. They're a lot of fun to do, and I do like using texture paste and stuff like that, so I can definitely show you guys how to make some models fit outside of a cityscape, especially if, you know, things like, I don't know, Mechanicum are coming. Those Mars bases are going to come important in handy. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, make sure you give it a like. Ask me any questions you want in the comments below, and I will get back to each and every one of you guys. You're all amazing. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you in the next video.